Hello, 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 beautiful beings of light. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Magic Weaver podcast. Today, I'm really excited to chat with you about the nervous system upper limit and how you can really leverage the nervous system upper limit to help you expand in your business and to also help prevent you from sliding into burnout in your business. And the nervous system upper limit is so powerful because it is really this line that exists in your body where your body is clearly communicating to you that you have reached an edge and that if you continue pushing further and further into that edge, it's going to result in your whole system becoming overloaded. So let's talk a little bit about some components of the nervous system to help you understand this particular piece that I'm talking about today. So in the simplest way, I want you to really consider your nervous system as your energy, right? That it's the energy that your body functions from. It's the energy that you show up in, right? And so because it is your energy is what determines how you are being in the moment, right? And so there's so many examples that we see in the entrepreneurial world or just in the world in general, where there's a lot of folks who are constantly operating in their nervous system upper limit. So they are burning their energy out. They're exerting a lot of energy, and there's nothing that's replenishing their nervous system. There's nothing that is tending to the nervous system. One of the things that I want to acknowledge is that, the world that we live in isn't necessarily a very safe place for the nervous system in and of itself, right? We all have busy lives. We often exist in environments that are fairly harsh for the nervous system. So at baseline, our nervous systems tend to be more on edge, and really our invitation, the edge that we are all stepping into as we grow our businesses from the nervous system, is that we are allowing our bodies to step into a deeper safety level with experiencing more pleasure and ease, with experiencing less harsh environments, right? With letting our nervous system be soothed and to feel safe in that soothing. And when our nervous system is very used to being programmed into the burnout, the hustle, the kind of pushing forward force energy, when our nervous system is acclimated to being in the nervous system upper limit for prolonged periods of time, your nervous system doesn't actually know any different, meaning it finds that nervous system upper limit as a safe place to be, even if it doesn't feel particularly good for you. So you might experience health consequences as a result of remaining in your nervous system upper limit for too long, or you might just experience a lot of disconnection from the self, like you feel constantly tired and fried and you can't even think about your body or your needs, right? It's like that level of pushing that really disconnects you from feeling what you need and giving it to yourself. And the nervous system, once it gets acclimated into that space, it knows how to function really well in it, which automatically for the nervous system means there's some level of safety here because I know how to do this, right? And so for so many people who have built their businesses more from this push, force, hustle, I need to be doing all the time energy, that have experienced burnout, that have experienced chronic tiredness, just disconnection from body, feeling uninspired by their business, uninspired by life, right? That even though they know it's not serving them, it doesn't actually feel very safe for them to receive something different. So even though the mind understands, it's better for me to rest and relax and to take time for myself and to actually allow my energy to align and to feel good, right? In order to create the kind of business that I want, in order to create the kind of life that I want. There are so many protections that show up in the body that actually prevent the nervous system from sinking into that space of rest and into that space of ease and pleasure, because your nervous system is unfamiliar with it, right? And so what I find to be true in my work with entrepreneurs, with coaches, with healers, is that we are actually teaching your nervous system to feel safety with ease and pleasure, and allowing your body to fully feel how safe it is to be there and how safe it is to remain there, right? And so when we think about that energy system, it's operating in that specific mode. It's operating in that nervous system upper limit mode most of the time, right? And so when we talk about what does it mean for us to grow our business in resonance with the nervous system, we're talking about what is it like for your nervous system to be in a place of regulation and a healthy level of activation, meaning it's not just all about resting and relaxing all the time, right? Because in order to build your business, you have to be in some level of action and doing, but it's more about understanding, what does action and doing feel like in my business when it's done from a really healthy nervous system space, right? What does it feel like for me to actually experience ease and pleasure as I am doing? That it's not just something that's reserved for the resting time and the relaxation time, right? And I actually see a lot of folks struggling with what that feels like. It's a feeling that they haven't yet accessed in the body. And particularly for generators, so if you're familiar with human design, you might be familiar with generators who are really like the doers, the busy bees in our society that get everything done, and we need them and we love them. But oftentimes generators like know how to push into burnout really easily, but they don't know what healthy energy feels like in their body. They don't know what healthy excitement feels like in the body. So it's still an activation in the nervous system, but it's the kind of activation that actually nurtures your energy, because generators are meant to be doing. They're not meant to be spending a lot of time resting like some other energy types in human design. But it's allowing your body to get to the place where it knows what it feels like to be in a healthy expression of doing, and what that sensation is like in the body, because it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. So the way that generators experience healthy doing is going to be different than how like some non-energy types like reflectors or manifestors or projectors experience it. Yeah. And so when we talk about working with your nervous system upper limit, we're really talking about when it comes to expansion, at least in your business. So allowing yourself to receive a higher income level per month, allowing yourself to, expand the offerings that you're providing and holding more, allowing yourself, even when you think about investments, like what's a healthy stretch for an investment in my business? This is all something you get to determine with nervous system upper limit awareness within your own body. And what I can say, and I'll go deeper into that component, but the nervous system upper limit is going to be something that changes for you at every state of your expansion. So you are going to be able to hold more at every level of your growth in your business, right? So that means that this is actually how you expand incrementally, because you're acknowledging where the upper limit is in your nervous system right now. And at every level of your business, the level just moves up a notch. So where I am currently in my body in terms of what's a healthy edge for my investment level in my business and how much I'm receiving in my business at this point is so different from when I started first in my business, right? So now I make multiple 5-figure investments per month in my business, and that feels like a healthy edge for me. But when I first started, it felt like paying $1,000 was a huge, huge jump, right? And at that point in my nervous system, that is what was my appropriate edge. That's what felt safe. and investing at the level that I do now would have put me in freeze response in the body, right? So the same is true for receiving money in your business. If I had received, 20K in 1 month in my business, I would not have known what to do with it. Like, my body wouldn't have been able to really hold it. So I could have received it, but I probably wouldn't have known how to hold it. One of my personal patterns has been that when I've received a lot of money, I've burned through it really quickly. And a lot of that has to do with your nervous system upper limit as well, your safety with money. Even though it's beautiful to receive a lot of money, sometimes when there's different parts of us who don't feel like they're capable of holding it, we might take actions from that energetic space in our body, right? And so I've also seen a ton of entrepreneurs who maybe like received a lot of money very early on in their business and quickly burned out because they didn't know how to hold that amount in terms of the structure of their business. And it was a lot of growth really quickly, and their nervous system didn't know how to handle it, right? And so when we talk about sustainable growth in your business, it's not that you can't have a huge influx of money coming in. That would be beautiful. And you also have to know how to integrate that into your body, integrate it into your systems and your structures in order for that to feel deeply nourishing for you in your business, right? So it's when we're going past that nervous system upper limit, we're kind of teetering on the edge of understanding what is enough of an edge to help me shift into a different energetic state, and what is like playing too much on that edge where it takes me into burnout. So I'm actually going to use the analogy of investment to talk about this even more deeply, because it's such an easy analogy to draw forward. And it's a really great example of even how I use nervous system upper limit understanding when I'm having conversation with potential clients on sales calls. One of the things that I always want to ensure when anyone is saying yes to a container with me is that the investment amount feels exciting, yet a little bit scary to them. And when they reflect to me that in their body, something feels like, oh, that feels like really, I'm scared to invest that, but I'm also like super lit up and excited about it, right? Like that to me says that like, yes, we're meeting an edge here. There's fear present. So it's not like it's easy for me to invest this. And I'm also like truly lit up by this possibility, and it makes me feel good and excited. And I feel empowered to take action from this space, right? And so when a client or a potential client reflects that to me in a sales conversation, I'm like, yes, that's the exact right space that you get to be in order to welcome in this next level of expansion for you. When we operate so much in our habitual safety zone, in other words, like maybe we're investing the same amount over and over again into our business and not seeing results, sometimes it is the result of we're not actually allowing ourselves to push ourselves into like the healthy level of discomfort where there's beautiful growth that happens. And that's by no means to say that now you need to like start investing higher and higher amounts. I think it totally depends on what you're naturally being called to do in your business and what actually resonates in your body. But it is just an example of saying that when we remain in our zone of comfort, whether it's in our investments or whether it's in our business or any other area of our life, we tend to be repeating the same energetic cycle. And usually, the nervous system of our future self, we are her, right? We are the future self. We are them. We just have a different nervous system state than that future self has, right? I always say that you're only a nervous system state away from the future that you desire for yourself. And so I'm always asking the question, what would the nervous system of my future self do here? What would she choose? How would she take action here? Is this an appropriate edge for me to step into at this point of time? And allowing myself to trust my body and to trust the excitement and fear that shows up here as a really healthy action state in my nervous system that's allowing me to take powerful, aligned action steps in my business and in my life. Because when I feel that kind of activation, it's my nervous system saying, okay, we're here for the expansion. We're here for that next level. We are here to expand in really luscious, beautiful, and aligned ways. But when I'm talking to a potential client and we're talking about the investment and I'm helping them tune into their bodies and how it feels for them to step into the container, if there's a freeze response that's happening in their body, in other words, there's like numbness happening, or like, I feel like everything's dark, I don't feel connected, right? Something feels off. That's usually a really good sign that the container is not yet appropriate for them. And I really operate under this premise in all of the ways that I do my work, is because when someone is in freeze response, they actually can't take empowered action. It means that they're not in their power, they're not in their body. And if we're not connected to our body, we're not really able to operate on that healthy activation edge. We're more like shutting down and shrinking away and unable to move forward. And certainly there are things that we can always do to get out of freeze response and to help us to get back into a place of empowerment and, connection with our own bodies. However, I find, as it relates to investments in particular, and really anything that gets you into freeze response, you don't want your body to shut down to that level. It's saying that my system is on overload. Like, what I'm stepping into here is actually going to make me feel so overwhelmed that I would be burning out, right? I would be pushing myself past the healthy zone of growth and comfort. And so that's just an example that you can use to think about all other things in your life, not just investments, all other things in your business. That where is that really healthy growth edge for me? Where is that space where I feel anxiety, like some level of fear, but also like this deep excitement that I can really allow myself to step into? This goes the same with like offerings, right? If there's a part of you that is afraid, a little bit afraid to put something out into the world because it's vulnerable, because it's a new thing, but you're also feeling lit up and inspired by that, that's a really healthy growth edge. That means that something is being birthed through you that wants to not only expand the clients that you're going to be welcoming into your containers, but that also is going to expand you internally through the process of you creating it, launching it, and welcoming people into that world. Right? And similarly, if there's an offering where you're just like freezing around and you're completely blank and it's like, I feel it coming in, but I just feel completely closed off and constricted, that might be an offering that needs a little bit more time to process through your system for you to like feel comfortable in owning your leadership at that level and owning your expertise at that level. And it might be something that you launch later down the line as your body begins to open up to it more and more, right? And so from that space, when we think about the nervous system upper limit, we are really finding the edge where you are in healthy activation and growth, but where your body isn't yet shutting down. Yeah, and if you know where that edge is for you, then you can allow yourself to expand in all of the beautiful ways, being on that edge with your fear and your excitement, while at the same time honoring that there are certain things that your body might need to acclimate to before they expand anymore, right? Before you welcome any more clients, or before you even welcome any more money, or before you make that high level investment, that something needs to be worked out within your body, within your nervous system, for you to find enough safety. Because nothing is ever going to feel safe enough nothing is ever going to feel completely safe in your body if you're doing something new. And that's something that I really want to normalize, that pretty much even if something is like super aligned, it's not going to feel completely safe in your body. And so it's not looking for complete safety, it's looking for something being safe enough. And that's how I really want to encourage you to think about the healthy expression of the nervous system upper limit. So how do you determine that in your body? And that is like there's so many different ways to do it, but definitely one is to really touch into, what does excitement feel like in my body? What does fear feel like in my body? And even if I test my body against different things, so like, what does it feel like for me to invest $1,000 in my business per month, or $2,000 or $3,000 per month? How does that feel in my body when I hold it in my body? It's going to give you a really accurate reflection of like, oh, like this would actually feel exciting and a little scary, or this actually freezes me and it makes me completely shut off. And you essentially get to test everything in your body that way. When making any type of decision, I invite all of my clients and all of you to really allow yourself to ask your body when making any kind of decision. And if this is something that is really new for you, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to acclimate to asking your body questions and to understanding the sensations that show up in your body. And if you're someone who's like really accustomed to this, then this is just about you deepening in that even more and understanding how you can honor your healthy edge, and understanding where in your business right now you're experiencing the shutdown mode, right? And so this can mean with like your systems, this can mean with certain clients, this can mean with like certain team members, this can mean with, the investments that you're making, this can mean a lot, right? And so evaluating the things that are feeling really good for you in your business and your body is going to help you to increase you existing in a much more pleasurable and easeful state in all of the components of your business, right? And so before I make any decisions about my business, I'm always tuning into my body and noticing like, where does this sit? And some things actually get to sit in a completely safe place in your body, meaning it does not have to be on the nervous system growth edge. And I want to talk about what the limits of that are. And some things in your business do get to be that growth edge place, right? So for me, like my investments tend to be on my nervous system upper limit edge. And that is one of the ways that I actually experience such beautiful expansion, because I'm trusting in myself. I'm surrendering to what is true in my body about the excitement that I'm feeling, and knowing that there is no doubt that if I follow and trust that place in my body, I will receive exactly what I am creating in my business and life. And that's proved to be true, right? I've definitely made investments from like way past my nervous system upper limit, and they haven't felt good, right? I've felt disempowered in this space, and they've given me something, but they were not as powerful as the investments I made from that sweet spot within my own body. So the piece that I also want to chat about is, when is existing on the healthy nervous system upper edge too much? And is there such a thing as too much, right? And I do believe that there is a specific amount that our body can hold on the nervous system upper limit edge, right? So, even when I'm talking about investments, I'm also looking at the whole of the decisions that I'm making at one time, right? And so if I'm making a lot of nervous system upper limit edge decisions at one time, I also have to think about, what is it like for me to hold all of them in my body at once, right? And if I'm tapping into all of them at once, then it actually might be putting me into overload. So even if all those things are aligned, if I'm doing it all at the same time, it might be actually pushing me into the burnout stage. And so it's always using your own discernment with that, your own discernment with your own body. The other component that I think is so important to talk about when we talk about like the nervous system upper limit and how to use it in your business for expansion and growth is that we are always anchoring energy in through integration. Meaning, I very rarely, if ever, do a lot of things in a row that are on that growth edge for me. It's not about always doing the growth edge thing. There are moments in time where that might be appropriate, depending on your body and what it's saying. But what's equally important is the integration space, right? It's the integration space that you allow for your body to assimilate the growth edge. What you're stepping into when you're stepping into some type of growth edge, the nervous system upper limit, that healthy activation, is that it feels exciting. So you feel the possibility, you feel the expansion that's available, but you also feel the fear. In other words, like your nervous system is reflecting to you like, this is scary. I'm doing something that I am unfamiliar with. I'm going into new territory. So there might be a part of your body that's recognizing, this is going to be great. Everything's going to work out in the way that I wanted to. I am actually safe to expand here. There's also another part of your body, a part of you that's like, whoa, hold the phone. Like, this actually might not be safe. And it's just because your nervous system is learning to find safety in a new space, in a new energy, right? There's a difference between holding 5K a month and 20K a month. And it's a matter of your nervous system getting to a place of safety with holding the 20K per month, right? And knowing what that means and what that looks like. And when you know what that means and what that looks like, that's where it's actually easier to sustain it on an ongoing basis because your nervous system knows how to hold it. And so, one of the important pieces is the integration space, that you're allowing energy to fully land in your body, that you are allowing it to fully root in and to establish that level of safety in the nervous system where it doesn't feel foreign to your body anymore to hold that amount of money or to hold that investment level, right? And so for me, it's using discernment in terms of like what I'm even welcoming in to my business. I can energetically be working with a higher income amount per month, like stretching into 50K months or 100K or whatever it is. But I'm also acknowledging where my body is right now and what feels comfortable and safe for it and like where the growth edge is. So I'm allowing every time I hit another income amount per month in my business, I'm also allowing my body to deeply integrate it and root it in. So a lot of the time we're acclimated to keeping a lot of energy up here in the head. And this is actually a lot of where the hustle, go, go, go energy. So if we're just like kind of going, let's get to the next income mark, let's get to the next thing, let's get to the next thing, without deeply connecting with our body and our deeper desires, without dropping that energy down into our root, we are operating from a very disconnected place. And this is where sometimes sustainability doesn't happen because we're just kind of like going, going, going and not allowing it to integrate fully. And energetically, the integration is happening in the root center, right? In the lower parts of our body. But like more concretely, the integration is also happening through our structures, through our systems, through how we are being within the space. So how we are holding ourselves and nurturing ourselves in the space. And so if you're receiving 20K per month, you're also probably receiving a lot more clients. Same as like if you're making 50 or 100K, you're holding more clients. You're having to tend to more things behind the scenes. You're having to prepare more things. There are more logistics, right? There are different things that are operating here. And instead of it being like, oh, now I have to figure out like how to do all of this, being able to actually sink into your body to allow the energy of the money to be fully received in your body and integrated. And then from that integrated space to be able to approach adjusting your systems, your structures, your processes, the way you are being in the space with clients, the boundaries that you hold to that energetic frequency and what's being asked of you will help you to really allow for that sustainability to happen where your body won't go into burnout. When entrepreneurs skip that step, I particularly see this with entrepreneurs who are scaling to multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, right, beyond, is when the integration doesn't happen and they're not adjusting their way of being in this space where their body and their nervous system has opportunities to be fully nourished and supported, right? Where the nervous system just gets to soak in restoration and recharging that creative force. That's where they slip into becoming burnt out and not being able to hold that more sustainably over a longer period of time. And so the integration space is so, so crucial, not just in what we talked about last week, which is like your marketing, putting the puzzle pieces together, but also in your capacity to sustain your income and to grow your income every single month. And also your ability to not burn out in that process, which is also the incredibly important piece of this. Because nervous system business growth is all about sustainability. It's all about letting your business feel yummy and delicious and good, and allowing for the growth to actually root into your business instead of, like blow up and not sustain over a longer period of time. So that's just such an important part of us like being on that edge, is that we're always integrating and letting our body communicate to us when it's ready to step into the next edge. Fast growth can be amazing, and also sometimes it can come with a lot of shadow pieces, especially if the integration doesn't happen. Expansion has both like extreme excitement and joy and like the realization of all of your desires and like, yes, I'm doing it, it's happening, it's beautiful. And it does have inevitable shadow parts that come up, because the shadow parts are telling you the things that need to be integrated in your world in order for it to sustain, in order for you to hold that growth really beautifully and lusciously and in a nurturing way. So those are the important pieces. When it comes to the nervous system upper limit, in terms of like coming from a period of burnout, you are relearning what it means for your body to feel nurtured. You are relearning what it means for your body to be at a space of like regulation and rest. And you are teaching your body to feel safe there. So if you've been in a place of like nervous system upper limit overload for a long period of time, which is really where the burnout happens, the invitation is for you to drop your body, sometimes often very slowly, because everyone's burnout journey looks different. Their thriving journey looks different. It's about dropping your body deeper and deeper into more and more safety with the rest and relaxation. And once your body starts to establish and even out there, then you can kind of determine what is my nervous system upper limit from this regulated nervous system state. Because once you're already in burnout, your body actually doesn't even know. There's a lot of signals that are coming in. There's a lot of like activation. And so being able to understand the nervous system upper limit from that state can be a little bit more challenging in that way. And what you can tap into is like the future self who is in a space of like rest and relaxation and really like nervous system regulation, where she feels safe to surrender to more and more rest and ease and pleasure. And tapping into that future energy can also teach your body a lot about what it doesn't yet know to access, where the tendrils and the threads of that regulation can start to land in your own body. And there is such power in borrowing from the future self that is thriving in her business, that is feeling so, so good in her business, right? So the nervous system upper limit is such a powerful tool for you to use at any level of your business growth. It's a beautiful thing to be aware of as you're starting your business, as you're continuing to expand. It's something that's crucial for you to be aware of the more and more you expand in your business. So getting to multi-5-figure months, scaling to 7 figures and beyond, knowing your nervous system upper limit so you don't slide into the burnout state is such an important piece of allowing yourself to grow really sustainably in a way that's nourishing for you and for the life that you want to create. The other piece of this is that the nervous system upper limit is something that you can always leverage. You can always leverage it. And the part that I think is important to know is that there's no like static, like this is the rule, that you're always finding it in your own body and the specific moment of time that you are in. So it's a very like body-led moment by moment process. And in my own business, it's about me actually always attuning to, when does my energy feel like it's going out of whack? When do I start feeling like tired and fried and uninspired? When is my creative power just kind of dimming? And that's a big red flag for me, to know that I am past my nervous system upper limit and that I need to reevaluate what is happening in my business, how I am holding myself and my own energy, how I'm nourishing myself. And what tends to be true is that I actually have to elevate my level of pleasure, right? My level of nervous system nourishing and pleasure practices, which by the way can mean so many things. It's not only about sex and self-pleasure. It's about really immersing your life and your experience in the felt sense and seeking pleasure in all sorts of different ways. That goes from like drinking a cup of tea, or, going and seeing your favorite movie, or, sitting on the couch and like holding hands with your partner and really sinking into the experience of that. It's about being really present in your felt sense and going deeper into letting something feel good, right? And so the more that I expand, the more I meet my upper limit, the more like on the edges that I live in my business, when I'm noticing that my energy is tanking, or like something isn't feeling quite right energetically, I'm not only restructuring things and creating more boundaries around things and looking at what needs to be adjusted to preserve my energy, I'm also upping my pleasure game and giving more spaces for my nervous system to be nurtured at higher and higher levels, so that in many ways, the more income that I bring in on a monthly basis means, yes, I have more structures, I have more systems that support me profoundly, I'm clearing up my boundaries, and I'm also adding more and more pleasure and letting my nervous system feel the expansion in that. It's not just taking away or adjusting, it's also, how can I feel, receive more in this space? How can I soak my nervous system and letting it feel good at even higher and higher levels? And that's so much of that nervous system upper limit growth that gets to take place, that you get to invite yourself into. And often what I see with entrepreneurs who are, scaling higher and higher to higher and higher income months is that they might be adjusting the structures and the systems and doing some of that kind of, very pragmatic work that needs to be adjusted, which is great. It's part of it. But they're also not allowing themselves, or it doesn't feel safe for them to feel more and more pleasure, to insert more and more pleasure into their world. Because they're so used to operating at a certain energetic level and frequency and doing energy in their business. And the resistance is often like, how does it feel safe for me to actually let it feel more and more good the higher that I go in the income amount that I'm welcoming in, right? And so those are all beautiful things to just like consider and sit with and notice how it's showing up in your own business. And, one of the things that I am currently putting out into the world that I'm welcoming entrepreneurs, healers, and coaches into is the Empress, which is a one-on-one container that I absolutely love. It's my highest level container in that we spend a year together. And this is really for the entrepreneurs who are making multi-six figures in their business, scaling to 7, and who really want to shift their receiving paradigm in their business. In other words, they might be pushing into burnout. They might have already experienced burnout. They might be in burnout in this very moment. And they're really wanting to receive in their business from this place of like surrender, and from this place of opening in their body, and from this place of like shifting their nervous system into experiencing more and more pleasure and ease as they grow, which is exactly the component that I was talking about at the very end, right? And that it is about allowing your nervous system to feel more and more safety with the pleasure and ease, the higher and higher that you scale. And this is like deeply soothing, body somatic based work that we get to do together. And we do it over a year because oftentimes when entrepreneurs are really programmed into the specific way of operating in their business over a longer period of time. So if you have a multi-six-figure business, if you're scaling even higher, you are very embedded in the energetic ways that you have been working. And part of what we journey through for that year is we are allowing your body to shift into a whole deeper capacity to hold more, but in a way that allows you to access more pleasure and ease in your body, in your business, in your life. And we really untangle not only your business, we untangle support and love and receiving in all the different ways. And this container includes 2 luxurious retreats that I completely plan for you. You have no part in them. I take the lead. I do everything. I just tell you where you're going, what the schedule is. You show up, and we get to luxuriate together in that experience for 2 times during our year together. And the other brilliant piece that I have in this mentorship that I think is so important for entrepreneurs who are scaling to multi-6 figures and beyond, 7 figures, is that I have this amazing systems queen who will be providing a VIP day and also like monthly implementation support to make your systems and structures feel really, really good. What I often find is that entrepreneurs put in structures and systems, and there might be a lot of resistance to them. Like there might be a lot of like I just do this because it works and it's like worked up until now. But the back end of their business actually feels kind of chaotic and like constricting, and it doesn't feel very good. And a lot of things are happening, and they don't quite know how to shift out of like the chaos and the stress of the back end of their business. And so I'm really bringing in a systems queen who will help you make your systems feel so good. And she has literally made my systems feel 100% better. So she's also part of the process. And this is like that, it's a year-long journey where we just get to deepen together. You have so much support, so much holding, and such a beautiful process in your own body to understanding what fully nurtures you, what fully fills you, and allowing us to open up a whole different way of you doing and being in your business. So if that's something that's pulling you in, I just want to invite you to send me an email, anna@annakinkela.com, reach out to me on Instagram at @IamAnnaKinkela, and I'd love for us to talk about what that looks like. This is my last spot for the rest of 2021, and I'm just so excited to meet the next Empress who is meant to say yes to this container. Thank you so much for tuning in. I obviously have something in my throat that's stuck right now, but thank you for making it through even as you're listening to me coughing. And I just want to invite you to connect with me on Instagram if you already aren't connected on there. I invite you to do a review on iTunes if you're feeling called on how this episode or the podcast itself has impacted you. And always feel free to reach out to me and just chat and let me know what's happening in your business and how I can support you in it. Have a beautiful rest of your day.